Hey guys, here we go into a video on the flow of the fight and how I think the fight is going to play out and where I think the fight is going to be won or lost. Now, both of these fighters are actually kind of similar in technique and strategy and how they like to fight. The only difference, Tank Davis is much more explosive, but Barrios is much bigger. So here we go into the first clip, and it's going to be of Batir just coming forward and shooting his jab, and Barrios is just trying to catch it and counter it, okay? Now, Davis doesn't set his jab up all the time either. So that means that this is going to be a tactic that's going to be very effective for Barrios to get on the line with Gervonta Davis, okay? As we can see here, trying it here, I want to point out here that this uppercut here is very effective for Akhmedov here. He lands it to the body, and then the clip cuts off here, but he also lands it to the head here. As we can see already that Barrios, his defense here for the southpaw position, not all that great, okay? He's going to get hit with this shot, but it gets kind of cut off. But here, again, here he is slipping and trying to time the left hand of Akhmedov as well, coming in for counters. He gets caught with his own counter, but I want to point out the idea of the timing more so than the fact that he gets caught here, as he's aware of his opponent getting on the line with him, as that's a very important idea, as he's able to catch these punches here because of that timing, okay? Setting up an excellent catch and counter right hand right there. And again, Tank Davis has a very predictable timing for his jab. Now, Tank Davis does like to counter, but Tank Davis also likes to use this very common pendulum step style punch here, where he uses his lead hand to open up space to find this body shot. Now, I want to point out that even though he's getting hit with the body shot, he's showing here very early in the fight that he's able to counter with the hook to the body shot on that pendulum right hand to the body, or pendulum left hand to the body, as we can see here. Now, Davis will be using his jab here to feint to get him in the position, but I still think that Barrios has seen this technique enough times that he's going to be able to read it and actually catch that shot and counter it. Now, again, here we can see Barrios, again, getting on the line with his opponent and reading that punch, right? It's going to be very difficult for Davis to sneak up on Barrios on the line here, as we can see Akhmedov having a very difficult time just landing lead punches here, right? Again, as he leads onto the line here, and Barrios very ready to counter. Now, Barrios' main source of offense for himself when he's not kind of countering is attacking his opponent when they step on the lead foot, okay? As we can see here, Akhmedov tries to get his weight onto the front foot, and this is where he looks to engage, right, to prevent his opponent from getting his weight to the front foot, which will help him control the space, right? Limit his opponent's offense. Again, as we can see here, Akhmedov tries to get his weight to the front foot, boom, getting eaten alive by that jab. Now, Akhmedov is not a fish out of water here. He's seen this tactic many times, just like Davis. As we can see here, Akhmedov in the second round augmenting that timing there and giving a pull counter and landing an excellent left hand over the top of Barrios' own counter attacks. Now, a few things to point out here. This exchange is quite a bit longer than a lot of the other engagements in the fight. As we see, they both look to engage and throw punches on the line. This is going to be very important later in the fight as we continue to look at the clips. But I want you to think about that idea because of the fact that these timings that they're fighting on are so predictable, right? Either fighting off of the jab or fighting off of the position that they get into the jab for, right? Stepping forward. And here we can see Barrios doing an excellent job of timing Akhmedov's pull counter for his attack on this position, right? So again, Barrios likes to attack that position as you move into it, and then Akhmedov doing an excellent job of pull countering with that shot, but walking into the left hook of Barrios. Now, this is where the fight gets really interesting, right? We know neither one of these fighters is probably going to win the fight countering the jab in the early part of the fight, right? They're going to have enough energy to move around and do all this fun stuff. But seeing the fact that Barrios here can draw that pull counter from him and then counter him with the left hook is very exciting and very interesting for the development of the fight as the fight develops, because of the fact that Tank Davis uses so much energy to fight, okay? Now, here again, we see Barrios doing the exact same thing. Boom, drawing him in, making him miss with the counter, catching him with the counter here of his own, and then actually scoring a knockdown here. Very, very, very important. Now, Barrios is 5'10", and Tank Davis is 5'5.5". I don't know what their reach is going to be like, but Tank Davis is still going to need to get his head closer to Barrios than he's going to realize, and that's going to open up a lot of space for him to land these kinds of counters. Now, this is what I think the fight is going to look like for the most part, okay? One engagement, Tank Davis wins. Tank Davis might chase, shoot a big shot, and this is an excellent shot off the line from Barrios. Again, as he shows, in spite of the fact that he looks like a very limited fighter, he's very, very capable of making adjustments, getting on and off the line, and landing big punches. Again, I want you to look at this clip again one more time here. Boom. Not as athletic, but very, very capable of stepping off the line, right? Which is very, very valuable in the Southpaw orthodox matchup. Now, we're going to take a look at some Tank Davis clips here. And we're going to be seeing how Tank Davis kind of fights himself, all right? So, here's Davis getting to the line. The first punch he throws in the fight, he just shoots a wild jab, right? Again, very basic timing, getting his way to the front foot, but not really disguising that punch very well, right? So what happens? He immediately gets countered 10 seconds into the fight by Leo Santa Cruz, boom, by the same jab, right? Trying to shoot the same jab. Now, as Barrios likes to fight, he likes to fight and time his opponents on that front foot. And now as Davis tries to get his front foot, Santa Cruz is going to try a similar tactic and shoot the jab, but we can see Davis having an excellent pull counter for his own uppercut here. Again, very, very similar, right? The pull counter, which Akhmedov tried to use a few times successfully, right? But also a few times putting himself in a very similar position to this to get hit by a similar punch that Gervonta Davis is, or that Santa Cruz is throwing right now. Now, the interesting thing about that is Tank Davis, like I mentioned, has this very explosive style, right? Whereas Akhmedov was getting his head stuck on the line and he was getting hit with those big shots, those big counters, those big left hooks. Davis has a little bit more of a defensive responsibility to move his head after he throws a punch. Now, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of this after and how that kind of affects the fight. But again, excellent motion there from Davis in theory, okay? Now, again, countering the jab, right, with that pull counter timing as Santa Cruz tries to control him as he moves to the front foot in a much better attempt than I think that Barrios is even capable of. Barrios likes to do it with a punch, and we can see that Santa Cruz is getting schooled, and he did his as a probe, right? He winds up eating a body shot here and then almost a body shot, but Davis's head is getting stuck here on the line, and this is going to be very important, again, because we do know that Barrios likes to counter with that left hook, especially when his opponent is pull countering him, right? So, very basic boxing offense from Davis, right? Like I mentioned, he's going to use a lead hand, occupy his opponent's guard, take his pendulum step forward, get lead foot dominance, and then shoot his body shot. And again, we know that Barrios is capable of countering this as well. If he can take Davis's punch, maybe he'll be able to line up a good enough one to hurt Davis, right? Now, probably not, but that'll be enough to discourage Tank Davis from wanting to throw this punch so often. So, what's going to happen, okay? Well, this is what happens when you do start countering that pendulum step, or you do start catching Davis, or whatever. Davis gets a little bit more athletic. Again, he's very fast. He's very strong. He's an incredible athlete. And here he's going to show us a little bit of what he's doing, okay? He's going to get on the line with this probing jab here. And now he's going to pendulum step forward, okay? So he kind of shuffles his feet underneath him. I have videos on my channel if you want to learn what the pendulum step is. It's a very athletic move. If your boxing coach hasn't taught you some variation of it within the first, 3 weeks of you being there, anyway, you should know that move. So, pendulum steps forward. In the middle of that, he crosses the line, transitions his way to the front foot, controls his opponent with the right hand, and now, with his weight on the front foot again, now here, he's going to pendulum step again forward, control his opponent with the lead hand, and now he's going to finally let off his attack to the body, okay? So he controlled his opponent, he feinted, he pendulum stepped forward, then he controlled his opponent, feinted, and pendulum stepped forward, controlled him again, and then threw his body shot. And now, after all of that work for that body shot, he has to exit the line. okay? And there he is, double pendulum stepping off and still getting caught, okay? And then jumping back onto the line with another jab, okay? Let's take a look at this one more time, okay, guys? Just in full motion. Beautiful work, but an incredible amount of energy as he has to jab, jump forward, right hand, jump forward with the hook, left hand to the body, right? And then control him on the way out and still getting hit. Very, very, very difficult. And again, I'm going to talk a little bit about this, about why. And here he is again, shooting the uppercut. Now, I want to point out, when he throws this punch, he's throwing it to counter his opponent's jab again, right? Like we established, he likes to counter the jab. There's nothing wrong with this. But he throws it as a power punch, and now he's stuck in the middle of his line here, okay? He's very, very dangerous position. So what does he have to do? Well, he has to slip and get his head off the line. So he brings his weight to the front foot. He gives himself a little bit of a peel here. And now what's he going to do? Is he going to fight? Is he going to throw more punches? Is he in a new position? No, he's going to pendulum step and slip and make this big jumping athletic motion. And all of that big athletic motion was to protect this wild uppercut. He had to go through all of these extra motions. And I know while it looks great and it's fun and it's flashy, if you don't get any dividends out of it, it's a waste of energy, right? He didn't get anything out of it, okay? And that's going to be very important because, again, this style of offense here, as he shoots the jab and uses that big pendulum step, here, I'll kind of explain it. He's going to use this weight management, right, as he gets his weight forward. It's actually not a great example here. As he rocks his weight forward and he jumps forward, that's kind of a pendulum motion. He uses the jab to rock his weight back so that he can shoot the left hand forward. We're actually going to see, I think actually Leo Santa Cruz's was a little better. It's actually pretty much the same. They're kind of shortcutting the position a lot for speed. But the important part, the part that I want to draw your attention to, is that his head doesn't actually move with slipping very often. He rather focuses on stepping off of the line rather than slipping or rolling a punch. And we're going to see what kind of happens when he runs out of energy here, okay? Now, again, one of the problems, even though he's very athletic, he can do all that stuff, here he is using a very, very athletic pull counter, power uppercut, gets stuck on the line, everything goes perfect, but he doesn't take a step off the line and winds up eating a big counter right hand from Davis. Now, again, Davis kind of tires sometimes, right? He has a very, very athletic, very, very powerful style, and sometimes that's to his downfall, right? Sometimes he comes forward against a guy, and they'll be controlling the space on him. Boom, boom, bop, bop. And what can Davis do but eat punches in every position he goes, right? And when he slips a punch and eats punches and walks into them because he's tired, right? He can't actually fight back during all of this time that he's coming forward against Santa Cruz here. All the time that he's trying to make these moves here, Santa Cruz is jamming him up, controlling him with the lead hand, popping him with the right? Popping him with the cross, catching him with the uppercut. And this is because Tank Davis has used so much energy stepping on and off the line that he doesn't have the energy to be just slipping punches regularly. Now, sometimes this goes a little bit differently for Tank Davis, right? Sometimes he walks into a jab, and then he walks into a hook, and then he walks into a right hand, and then he walks into another right hand. He kind of catches that one, and then he slips a jab, and he catches you with an uppercut, and he knocks you out, right? But the difference between these two clips here, is very, very little. It's just Davis landing his punch when he gets to this position, right? Or vice versa, because he switched Southpaw to orthodox to slip the other way to land that shot. The difference between that clip and this clip are very, very, very small, right? It's very, very, very small, but it's a big difference in determining the winner, right? Because if Tank Davis tires because he uses all of that huge athletic motion, all those big pendulum steps, all those big jumping moves in to land his big power punches, and then he has to use all that same energy for defense because his opponent is a counterpuncher, he may find himself on the line enough with his opponent that he eats big shots too. And that the fight doesn't actually go exactly the way that he's hoping. That it doesn't he doesn't get the knockout, right? If he tires too much. Again, he's moving up in weight class. He's fighting a guy who's 5'10" now. He's not fighting someone who's, 5'5", who, should weigh 130 pounds. But, Tank Davis gets in the ring at, 150, right? Because he's such a big dude. But how much of an advantage is it going to be against someone who's 5'10" and gets in the ring, maybe at 155 himself, right? So if Tank Davis can't really stop, Mario Barrios, he may be in for a long night because he uses so much energy with his extreme athletic style, right? And all the exaggerated head movement. Again, because he doesn't have traditional slipping or rolling ability because of where he places his head. Now, it's a little bit of a product of being a Southpaw. But again, I want to stress this is an incredible sequence right here. This is an incredible sequence. Very, very difficult. But it takes so much energy. And did that one body shot even equal the 2 punches to the head? Did it? I mean, probably. Maybe. Right? Body shot? Maybe. Headshot? I'm not sure. Right? But very, very, very athletic style. Very, very difficult to keep up. And if Davis can't keep it up for 12 rounds against his bigger opponent, much more of the fight is going to look like this, with him coming forward and eating shots and eating punches, than it will him coming forward, eating punches, and still being able to find his big, big, big punch against someone who's 5'10". Anyway, if you guys are interested in the full fight film studies, check out my Patreon. It's $10 to sign up, $10 a month. There are hundreds of videos in there. There are also training videos if you're new to boxing and you want to learn your boxing technique from new to beginner to mid-level, I'll say. Heavy bag work and shadow boxing from those guys that I teach, and I have open videos of me teaching other patrons. So you can learn technique, you can learn theory. There are dozens and dozens of training videos and boxing seminars and things that other coaches and other professional fighters have joined my Patreon to learn. So, and that's $10 to sign up, $10 a month. And if you're looking for personalized coaching, where I'll go over your film study of your heavy bag work, your shadow boxing, your double and bag work, your sparring, your amateur fights, your pro fights, or just any fights that you want me to film study for you, you can join my second level tier. It's $50 to sign up, $50 a month for private one-on-one videos, one-on-one coaching. Again, I'll go over all your film. I'll teach you what you need to do to get better, to build the kinds of routines that are going to help you get better as a fighter as well. Okay. And that goes to your heavy bag work, your double and bag work, your jumping rope, your shadow boxing, all of it. So, anyway, if you guys have any questions, let me know. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, thanks, guys.